What's up, guys? This is the Nemesis Coop with another video, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install a throttle body spacer on your Kia Optima if you have one. Now, I already kind of installed it. However, there was a lot that was involved with installing it, so I'm going to go through a step-by-step process on how to install it and how the K5 Optima store kind of fucked up. But I'll get into that later. But onwards into the video. Alright, so there is my throttle body spacer already installed. Now, there are two pre-tapped holes on the top and bottom of the throttle body for any kind of things that you would want to put into it, such as an air fuel gauge, boost gauge, whatever have you, even NOS if you really want to do that sort of thing to your fucking Optima. But it's there if you need it. Now the kit does come with two plugs for it, and it also comes with bolts that I'm actually going to be getting into in just a second. What you're going to need is pretty much your standard shit. I mean, a 10mm socket and ratchet of both the 1/4" and 3/8 drive kind, and possibly, I mean, you don't really need it, but an extension for your 1/4" just to get into some of those tiny places. And I even actually used a 10mm deep socket in some cases. Now, with the bolts, they send you hex head bolts, which I'm actually going to show you in just a second. Those hex head bolts, you have to use a hex key to install them. I had somewhat of a problem with the bolts that they sent me. So you see this bolt here, and there is one just like that on the bottom. That is not a hex head, and neither is the one down there. I had to go get different bolts because the ones that they sent me, the hex head ones that came with the kit, were too long and were pushing against the intake manifold on the top and the bottom, and I did not want to punch a hole through there, and so this was not seating correctly, because this little green tab, there is a gasket inserted into there. And there is also a gasket on this side of the throttle body spacer that touches and seals with throttle body. And obviously you want that to be sealed. And so obviously there was a gap here because the bolts they sent were pushing against here. Now this is the 2.4 liter motor, but this throttle body spacer does work on the 2.0 turbo and 2.4 liter 2016 to 2018 model years. Mine is a 2017, but I will give you all of the specifics as far as the bolt sizes and everything. Now, all right, these are the bolts that came with the kit. These were way too long, like I said. They were pushing against the intake manifold, so you definitely don't want to be using these for the front two holes facing your bumper on the top and bottom. These are the original bolts. Obviously, they're shorter, much shorter, because you know, there's new space there from the spacer, so you have to get longer bolts to accommodate for that. These bolts that I got here, I got from Weavers and Ace Hardware. And you can get them from any hardware store, Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever. They do come off, you know, with a 10mm socket or wrench. These are the 65mm ones. I have the 60mm length bolts in there. I got 2 of each just because I wanted to make sure that I had the correct size, and so I didn't know how much I would actually need as far as length to go into the throttle body and to make sure everything was sealed. Now you do need an Allen key, like I said, or a hex key, and I used the 2 from the kit that came with it for the back holes. So, you know, I had enough clearance there, so that's fine. But like I said, you definitely want to replace or not use these. You want to buy your own shorter bolts for the spacer in the front. But that's that on the bolts. Now I'm going to show you what you would need to remove as far as you know, getting everything out to put the throttle body spacer in. And actually, before I forget, the bolt sizes, so like I said, I had gotten 60 and 65 millimeter in length. The thread pitch is M for metric, and that's M6-1 for the thread pitch. So you need to make sure that your threads are the correct pitch. Otherwise, they're not going to thread in correctly and you'll strip everything out. So you don't want to do that. Make sure that you get that specific measurement. Alright, so like I said, what you would need is the 10 millimeter socket and ratchet to remove these two bolts here, to remove this scoop. Yes, yeah, scoop, I guess. And that pulls right out of the box. You want to just set that out of the way. You can use the 10 millimeter socket or a Phillips head screwdriver. I definitely recommend the socket to remove, or well, no, loosen this clamp here. And there's a bolt under there. You want to loosen that, pull that off of there and there, flip that up over to the side because there is a hose attached to that. I mean, if you really want to, you can use clamps. I did not. It's just quicker this way, just to flip it up over the engine and rest it there. And then the original bolts that were in here, they were a 10 millimeter size, so I could get them out that way. And I used a variation of everything from this to the deep 10 millimeter socket, just to kind of make it easier. What with the coolant hoses being kind of in the way. But I don't know if I can. Yeah, I can. Right there, that is where I had no clearance issues on the top and the bottom. That is where I had issues because that was pushing into that. You can't even, yeah, right there. So that little tiny crack there, it was pushing into the intake manifold and it wasn't seating right. So you definitely want to make sure that you get new bolts instead of using the ones that come with the kit in, you know, if you order one from the K5 Optima store. But I used obviously the shorter bolt on the top, and then I also used the shorter one on the bottom, like I said. And the ones that came with the kit were fine on the top, in the back, and they were fine on the bottom, so I had enough clearance there. But yeah, so that's basically the sort of how to install video and what you would need. It's not like you're going to notice any kind of crazy horsepower gains or anything, or torque or whatever, but it makes the exhaust sound a little different at higher RPMs. I do notice a slight increase in acceleration. I mean, not crazy, but I can feel it a little bit. But overall, I mean, you can spend the money on it and do it if you really want to. But to me, I mean, the only real benefit of a throttle body spacer on this kind of car would be for anything like a boost gauge or NOS or whatever. Everybody's telling me to put NOS in this thing, and that'd be cool, but no. But there you go. That's sort of a how-to on the throttle body spacer install and what you would need if you would buy the throttle body spacer kit from the K5 Optima store. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.